Have you ever wondered why people behave in ways that sometimes feel completely irrational? Or why you, as a leader, even surprise yourself in the way that you react? That's exactly why I decided to go back to school. Not for a degree, but for understanding. Hi, I'm Mick Spiers, the host of the Leadership Project podcast. For the past 12 years, I've studied psychology and human behaviour through becoming a professionally certified coach, interviewing experts on the podcast, and writing my first book, You're a Leader, Now What? But deep down, I knew there was more to learn, something deeper, something beneath the surface, about what drives people, their thoughts, their choices, and their actions. That's why I decided to formalize my study in psychology, to go deeper into the human condition, to understand and make rational sense of a sometimes irrational world and irrational behavior, to understand what drives people, the way that they think, the way that they feel, the way that they act, and to apply these insights into how we lead, how we live, and how we connect with others. The first course I enrolled in was Yale University's Introduction to Psychology, delivered by Professor Paul Bloom and available on Coursera. In the very first lecture, we're introduced to Phineas Gage. Phineas Gage was a railway foreman in 1948 who had a horrific accident where a metal rod shot through his skull and through his brain. He could live, he could walk, he could speak and reason, but he was never the same again. Before the accident, he was considered to be dependable, focused, and respected. Afterwards, he became erratic, profane, and impulsive. The only thing that changed was his brain, and that's the key to this first lesson. This brings us to what Nobel Laureate Francis Crick calls the astonishing hypothesis, that everything we are, our personality, our decisions, and even our moral compass, is the result of neural activity. In other words, the mind is what the brain does. As a leader, this can change everything. If the brain drives behaviour, then leadership isn't just about motivation and vision, it's about understanding how people think, what shapes their decisions, and how context affects them neurologically. It helps explain why someone might show up one day as motivated and driven, and the next as distracted and withdrawn. Maybe it's not lack of motivation, it could be sleep or trauma or neurological overload, something going on in their mind. Understanding the science behind behaviour lets us lead with empathy and effectiveness. Instead of assuming laziness, instead of reacting to people, we start to understand them. As we begin this journey together, I'll be diving into psychology, human behaviour, and organisational behaviour. And I'll be sharing with you what I learn and how it applies to how we lead. Over the next few weeks, we'll explore what psychology teaches us about memory, emotion, motivation, identity, and our decision making. Not as an academic exercise, but as tools that we can use in leadership, in parenting, and in life. So if you've ever been curious about what drives human behaviour and how that understanding can help you lead better, then I invite you to come on this journey with me. Hit subscribe to follow this journey and drop a comment below. What's one irrational behaviour that you've seen in yourself or in others that you would love to understand better? Let's explore it together. In the next video, we'll look at one of the most interesting and surprising truths about your brain. It doesn't show you reality, it creates it, and it doesn't always get it right. We'll explore how our perception can deceive us and why that matters more than ever in how we lead.